Welcome to J is for Justice podcast. If live breaking news and following true crime is your thing, then please consider subscribing to my channel. And if you like what you see in my videos, please consider giving them a thumbs up. Hey guys, happy Monday. It is Monday, January the 15th. It's Monday, January 15th. I hope y'all had a wonderful, wonderful weekend. I opened up my YouTube to come live this morning. I was on my YouTube bright and early this morning. Bright and early, making a video about Michael Vaughn, making several videos. And I just opened up and saw this. And guess who struck me? That would be DA Rourke and his wife. That would be her. She is Survivor's Guide to True Crime. So I found that podcast, right? Did this video, and then I saw that they struck plunder. So they copyright struck plunder. And so I put it on private. And it's been on private for a few days. And it was struck while it was private. So I don't know how they got the link to it, but they did. So it says that it premiered on January 10th, which was 5 days ago. And they took it down. And my only option is a counter strike or to let it fall off in 90 days. So I can only guess that the Chris Watts prosecutor doesn't want people to talk about the job that they did. Why? If he's sitting there spitting truth, calling podcasters pieces of shit, why does he care if it's clipped? And the reason I took mine down was because Plunder did a complete rundown with commentary and still got struck. So what that means is it's a copyright strike on my channel. You get 3 strikes and you're out. When you get a copyright strike, they're there for 90 days. So that's what they did. Oh, man. So happy Monday. Happy Monday. It's always interesting over on the tubes when a public prosecutor does an interview on his own wife's true crime podcast that she started after being SA'd, and DA Rourke defended her and put her suspect away, and he was the big hero. I guess he doesn't want people to know that either. I only have 1 strike. This is it. What's up, Jams? What's up, Diana and Jammers and Olive Juice and Angie B? Thanks for moderating today. Kendi. Who else is here? Oh, lots of members. We got Global. We got Micro Kimmy changing her name on us. Dixie. Global. Apple Bottom Jeans. Boots with the Fur. What's up? Good morning. Glenn V, hello. Lucia, who else? Who did I miss? If I missed you, I'm sorry. Tamara, Stephen Martin, good morning. Good morning, everybody. So that's how my Monday has started out. But we shall go on, right? We shall go on. It is a little bit disturbing that a public prosecutor is striking. Oh, yeah. Hey, Kelly Barrison L says, wait, he married someone that was involved in a court case? Somehow that seems unethical. Well, he addressed that too. He was like, before anybody says, where's your ethics? It was 10 years before we got married. Yeah, he addressed that. as he proceeded to call several people pieces of shit. DA Rourke, you know, it just goes to show why everybody's staying on his ass and why he's getting emails to this day about this case. Look at what they're doing. Bullshit. It's bullshit. But today we're not talking about DA Rourke. DA Rourke. We're going to talk about those Lions. How about them Lions yesterday? How about them Lions? We already have U of M taking the championship, and now the Lions could possibly go to the Super Bowl. How about that? I think this is the year of the mitten. This is the year of the mitten. And it's very cold up there, guys. It's going to be like 5 degrees tonight or something like that. So, stay warm, everybody. I know a lot of people are in some really, really cold states right now. Bundle up. It got humid here in Florida again. I can't complain. I really can't because it's really humid. So today we're here to talk about murderabilia, a subject I've never talked about, and the Idaho 4 mixed in with that. Welcome back, Sunshine Stacy. We're going to talk about that, and we're going to look at some murderabilia sites. This is a real thing, and you know, some of it's kind of benign. It goes anywhere from letters to bloody floorboards to clothing, vehicles, you name it. Have you guys ever bought any murderabilia? Kimmy says, thank you for posting Eminem. He's my pretend hubby. He was raised in the roof at Ford Field. He sure was. It's cold in PA. It's cold everywhere. It's cold in the damn D. It's cold everywhere, right? So the Steelers play today. They got put off because of the snow. There was so much snow that they had to cancel a football game, which is crazy. But we're going to talk about murderabilia. I've never talked about this topic before. And Nancy Grace had a couple experts on that talked about this murderabilia stuff. I got to find the video. Give me 2 seconds here. I'm all Stacy wandered out. If you guys haven't watched those videos, it's pretty damning. I don't know why that dude's suddenly speaking out, but he is, and it's pretty amazing. All right, here's our video. So we've got some clips from some old TV shows, because this is something that has been a topic, I guess, for a long time, because I found a clip of a John Walsh TV show, and John Walsh actually confronts this collector about Otis Tools, you know, the guy that allegedly killed Adam Walsh, about Otis Tools paintings. So let's see here. All right, so we're going to roll through this video and just discuss as we go. And we'll do some polls and stuff and ask you guys your opinions. Yeah, the Alcatraz Museum in Tennessee is one of them that I'm going to talk about. And it's funny because I always wanted to go there. And now I'm not so sure. So let's watch, and then we'll discuss and talk about would you still want to go there? I just feel like it's kind of changing, the whole Idaho 4 having a quadruple murder on our generation's books like that we're watching in real time. I feel like it makes it so much more real than just watching something that happened in the 70s.
Andy makes a good point here. Is this a business? Or you do it because you like to collect?
Because I like to collect.
You like, what the heck is the thrill? What is the thrill in collecting murderabilia?
If George Clooney was to draw a picture, somebody out there wants to collect it, and these killers draw, and that's what I want to collect.
Let me ask you something. Were you ever a crime victim? You know anybody that was a crime victim? God forbid you ever become a crime victim. I'll tell you what, you're going to change your opinion. Do you know that after the Holocaust, the Germans, when they killed 9 million Jews, they made lampshades out of the children's skin. Would you buy one of those lampshades?
No.
No? Well, you're buying other stuff that, these guys that killed children, that killed and tortured and skinned people alive, you're collecting their stuff.
The Holocaust stuff don't interest me. If I was interested, I probably would.
Let me ask you a question. You've got some of Otis Toole's letters, don't you?
Okay, so he's like, the Holocaust stuff doesn't interest me. If it did, I'd probably collect it. How do you feel about that? I mean, the Holocaust and World War II is all part of history. So, I mean, I don't know about skin lampshades. I've never heard that story before. That was a first for me. John Walsh giving us a history lesson today. I've never heard that. Have y'all ever heard that? Very odd parallel to make, right? Children's skin being used for lampshades. So, yeah.
No, just art.
Don't you have some of Otis Toole's drawings?
You have drawings, but no letters.
You have drawings of Otis Toole. You know that Otis Toole was the main suspect in my son's murder. You know that. You know that Otis Toole sent me a letter. Maybe you don't know this. But do you know that Otis Toole decapitated my 6.5-year-old son? Did you know that?
Yeah.
He cut my son's head off, allegedly. Okay? And he wrote me a letter from prison saying, I'll tell you where the rest of the body is if you give me $5,000. And you got that guy's paintings. How do you think I feel about that?
Why are you giving
you know, you got a smirk on your face. You think this is funny? How do I know you aren't going to be the next child killer because you love this stuff?
Ooh, now that was a harsh thing. How do I know you're not going to be the next child, Killer, because you like this stuff? Do you think that that's too extreme? Do you think that he's going a little overboard here as a victim? So you guys, some of you guys have heard that. Zach Bogan, whatever. Yes, he does. He does. Mm-hmm. That's a pretty heavy accusation, though, for collecting paintings of a killer. But why would you want a painting of Otis Toole? Like, why would you even want that? Because I was looking at some of the drawings of serial killers that these people collect. And we're going to see some of them. But they're creepy. They're not cool. They're not cute. It's really gross. They're really gross paintings.
Child killer. He's going to be some kind of killer. You don't do this.
I have no interest in killing them, but I do it just to collect
for
the stuff.
attention. Just like these people wanted attention, and they got it. And now they're making money off of it.
Damn!
I have it hanging in my living room.
You have
no a mentor or something to look at.
And you don't think there's anything wrong with that? You don't think there's anything wrong with that?
No.
You don't think that's anything wrong with that?
Why do you give these people a pedestal? Why do you turn people like this and put them where they're given immortality? That's what you're giving them. Do you realize that?
Do you have any nieces or nephews? Do you have any nieces or nephews?
Yes, sir.
How about if somebody decapitated your...
Okay, I had to stop that one there. But I don't see the appeal, but I don't think that it makes you like a potential killer. I don't know if I believe that. But this is the episode I was talking about on Nancy. This just was put out just the other day. And Nancy is not about murderabilia, let me just tell you. She thinks people that partake in collecting murderabilia are vampires, freaks, disgusting, and sick in the head. But it definitely doesn't make you a saint, no. It definitely doesn't make you like dating material. Like, hey, I've got paintings of killers in my living room. Come on in. Let's go on a date. Oh, who painted that? Oh, John Wayne Gacy. Oh, yeah, that would be great to be stuck on a date with someone like that.
Bag in my office, I actually have murderabilia items that include serial killer hair samples which is like Charles Manson's hair that was sold in the form of a swastika. I have actual fingernail clippings from a California serial killer. I have pieces of clothing. I have objects that were actually taken from crime scenes itself.
But stop right there. What kind of objects taken from crime scenes? Because that's what I'm worried about with the demolition of the King Road address. What objects have been taken from a crime scene? Look, anything is fair game. If some ghoul gets, I don't know, a piece of wood, a piece of cement, a piece of fabric, a piece of furniture.
Okay, so she's talking about the King Road house, and I wanted to talk about that as well. So I've been hearing that they took all of the remains of the King Road house and they dumped it, buried it, so that no one could get their hands on it. Right? So we looked it up, and there's several landfills and dumping sites around Moscow. And I believe all these places are surrounded by, locked fencing and stuff like that. But when I heard about the types of things that people will collect, they don't really even need a personal item of the victims. Like she said, cement, floorboards, dirt. And you're going to hear a really, really gross story about John Wayne Gacy's crawl space. And then that brought me to looking at John Wayne Gacy's crawl space crime scene photos. And I was just completely grossed out. John Wayne Gacy buried several, I don't know, at least a dozen or more young men in his crawl space. And as it started to smell and come up through, the floor of the house, he would go to a feed store and he would get lime. Isn't it lime? And he would put lime down and it would make the smell go away. Well, there's people that bought little baggies of the dirt from his crawl space. Listen.
Let me give you an example, Nancy.
Hit me.
John Wayne Gacy's crawl space.
Let me guess.
There are
dirt.
over 40 people that were bidding for items for dirt that was scooped up and put into a plastic bag where Gacy had buried over 30 young men.
30 young men. Gross. And then I think about Brian Koberger's garbage. And then you think about all the evidence. What do they do with all the evidence once it's processed? Because how are people buying bloody floorboards and shit like that? It's got to be after the case is concluded. Yes, bidding. Bidding on an auction of dirt from John Wayne Gacy's frickin' crawl space. It's so disgusting.
Okay, stop right there.
Dirt
from Gacy. And then bury the bodies in his crawl space. People actually paid money for the dirt. How much money?
Well, they were paying anywhere from $50 to $100 for little bags of dirt.
Let's go to Harold Schechter joining us, author of Murderabilia, A History of Crime in 100 Objects. Harold, what is wrong with these people? They're ghouls. They're like vampires sucking the marrow out of a crime scene. What is wrong with these people?
I don't know. Call me crazy, but I feel like she just described Gypsy Rose Blanchard. Did she not? Vampire. Ghoul.
They're ghouls. They're like vampires sucking the marrow out of a crime scene. What is wrong with these people?
Well, I think it's important to put the phenomenon in some kind of historical context. The only thing different now about collecting murderabilia is, as Andy says, you can do it on the internet. But the fact remains, if you look at the history of crime, people have always wanted to own souvenirs connected to very gruesome and sensational crimes.
Why do you say that, Harold Schechter? What's the oldest example of murderabilia that you know of?
Listen to this, guys.
Well, back in the, let's say, 1700s, when a condemned murderer was hanged, one of the perks for the executioner was that he could keep the noose. And the executioners would cut the nooses into 1-inch pieces and sell them to these morbid souvenir hunters. One of the interesting things, I'm a historian of true crime. My books examine crimes going back to Shakespeare's time. And every time there has been a very notorious murder, people have flocked to the site of the murder and often torn down, the barns or the houses where these crimes have taken place. I'll give you an example. In the 1870s, I'm sure you've heard of the Bender family. The Bender family was this family who opened a roadside tavern in Kansas in the early 1870s.
Listen to this. This is weird.
When travelers, weary travelers would stay there, the Benders would murder them and take all their possessions and bury their corpses in the apple orchard. When their crimes were discovered, hundreds and hundreds of people descended on the Bender property and basically tore down the house, coming away with these souvenirs. It's not a new phenomenon.
No, it's really not. You're right to bring up the Bender family. Guys, this is happening now. And I'm going to go to our...
So she says this is happening now. So I don't know what she means by that. I haven't heard personally of anyone claiming to have Idaho 4 murderabilia. I haven't heard of anybody claiming that they're going to get Idaho 4 murderabilia. I certainly have not. But who knows what else is going on out there? I'm not privy to everything. And I wanted to say, Johnny and Mark Calvin Klein, that is so scary. And I'm so glad that you guys were not affected by Gacy. I mean, you were because you knew people that were, right? That's messed up. Do you guys know each other in real life, Johnny and Mark?
Legal experts to discuss what does this mean legally, if and what Harold Schechter told me, and I'm pretty sure Andy Kahn is going to agree, that floorboard or that mattress or that bed sheet would fetch more money on the internet if the victim's blood was on it. Who are these people?
Nancy, I have to believe that these collectors of this murderabilia, present panel excluded, of course, are taking some secret delight in the pain and suffering of the victims, just like a murderer or a sadist takes delight in the suffering of the victims. So do these collectors. Nancy, people feel that just because somebody is famous, they must be fascinating. So like a BTK killer or a Casey Anthony, just because we know a lot about them and they are talked about on the air, these people must be fascinating. I want a piece of them. But the fact is, criminals, murderers, perpetrators, they are incredibly boring people. Have you ever sat and interviewed one? I'm sure you have. The crimes may be very notorious and sort of horrible and hard to wrap one's mind around. But when you sit with a criminal, their excitement is not in the conversation with you or about their travels or their children or the latest book they've read. They're so preoccupied with their internal sexualized, fetishized world of wanting to kill people that they're not even present in the room with you. So I think the public should not confuse these criminals and their acts as being fascinating in any way. And the fact is, when you have a floorboard with blood on it in your home, you yourself
That's some
become
bad
proxy to
juju.
the crime. I know that's a dramatic statement. Not in reality. It's not like you could be prosecuted for it. But you are delighting in the anguish of the victims.
And okay, she says you're delighting in the anguish of the victims if you collect nasty souvenirs from their horrific murders. And I have to tend to agree. It's kind of gross. But I feel like it's also a little bit that way with the people that are doing, to the victims and the surviving roommates and all the friends. I mean, I can't tell you how many times I open up my YouTube on my TV and I see a video about Idaho 4. And it looks all intriguing. The thumbnail looks enticing. The title looks intriguing. And when I turn it on, what's the first thing I see? Either Adam or Hunter Johnson or Dylan or Bethany or Emma Bailey. And it's like, I don't understand why the attention is not just on the one who's behind bars right now. Like, stop. But I feel the same way about that. I don't like it. And I definitely would not want any kind of bloody floorboard or anything of that nature in my home. That's really bad juju. And I feel like that just, I don't know, it's icky. It's icky to me. But can we also talk about how people pay for letters? Not just artwork or, souvenirs from a crime scene, but they pay for letters from inmates and things like that. Why? Why do they think these people are so intriguing? Is it because they do things that we just can't wrap our brain around? And we're just so fascinated by what they do and how they're able as human beings to commit these horrific acts on other people. But like, I'm almost ready to take this Ted Bundy wanted poster down. Like, I look at that and I'm like, why do I have that? But that's teetering a line for me anymore. I mean, it's one thing to innocent until proven guilty. That's one thing. But it's a whole nother thing to ignore the evidence that we do know of. That is all circumstantial. What a lot of circumstantial evidence adds up to a story that you really can't dispute, which I think is why Brian Koberger is fighting this DNA tooth and nail. No pun intended. But he's playing games. He's playing games with the legal system. He's playing games with the victims' families. He's playing games with all of their friends who are trying to get past this and somehow find their new normal. Because whenever someone that's close to you dies, you have to find that new normal. It doesn't just happen. It happens with supportive people around you, community, being involved in things, talking to others who have been through, similar things like that. And what opportunity do any of these students have to do any of that? I mean, they have each other, but they're kids, they're young adults and they have no experience in life. So they really have to lean on their parents and each other because they have so many people online that have made them the demon, that have made them that they did something wrong, that they didn't do something right, that they're at fault for their friends' deaths. And that is probably, survivor's guilt is probably one of the worst guilts that you can have. Liz W., thank you. Thank you. Came from Quite Frankly. Love it. Love it. Love it. I had so much fun on his show. Hope he has me back. You guys need to tell him to have me back, Liz, because it was so much fun. What was his motive? I don't know. I mean, we don't have to know his motive. We don't have to know why he did it. They just need to prove that he did it. And I watched a really interesting podcast last night on the Interview Room. You guys are going to want to check this out. He talks a lot about the investigation, and what we think is the probable cause affidavit is not actually the probable cause affidavit. And I still haven't absorbed the fact that what we saw is not really a probable cause affidavit, but an exhibity. We have an exhibit with Brett Payne and Blaker's recollection. And to find out that they're hiding even the PCA is fucked up to me. I don't even know what to think. It's an exhibity. It's not a PCA. I did watch it. Hell yeah, I watched it, Meg. Hey, Dre. Andrea. Welcome. Yeah, it is. It's weird. Exhibity. So why can't we see the real PCA? What the fuck is in the real PCA? What is in that real PCA if that's an exhibity? And I feel like they were scrambling around, okay? Because, and we're going to talk about this week. I've got another live planned for this week before Friday. What's up, Island? What's up, baby? What's up, One Eye Flow? If you guys missed it, go back to the beginning because I got a strike from Michael Rourke, Mrs. Michael Rourke, out there in Colorado. Anyway, we're going to talk more about this week. So make sure that you are subscribed and click all notifications because I've got a lot to say about this. We're going to talk it through because that is really crazy to me. Yeah. Well, I fell asleep watching it, Meg, and then I had to finish the rest of it when I woke up. So I've been between Michael Vaughn and the fact that we don't have a real copy of a PCA because I looked at the other PCAs from Daybell, the other ones that are on the Late Talk Cases of Interest, and we'll go through those. We'll do that in another live stream. Let's keep going though with the Murderabilia.
You are ignoring what their families have gone through, and you have a whole imagination about what happened that has nothing to do with reality. I'm trying to figure
out who these people are. Andy Kahn, you had to buy your toenail and hair stash.
So gross. Who would want toenails?
I can't believe I went to law school. 3 years at Mercer University.
She's
the industry of true crime is booming.
She's like, I can't believe I went to college, all those years, and I'm talking about fucking toenails.
True crime is booming.
Making money off murder.
Like it or not, there's groups of people out here who the industry of true crime is booming.
Okay, so this is a Colorado report, and this is strictly just Colorado talking about the true crime business booming. Dre, I don't think I did. I haven't checked my email in a couple days. I will, though. Happy Monday. You're eating finger foods with your fingernails. All right, let's listen to this.
Making money off murder.
Like it or not, there's groups of people out here who idolize high-profile killers and serial killers.
Odds and ends from infamous killers selling online.
A healthy chunk of Charles Manson's hair.
Letters, artwork, and even a prison badge. Several of them tracking back to Colorado.
Christopher Watts here, and you can see some of his letters here.
I can't.
Random items raising disturbing questions.
From my perspective, you just shouldn't be able to rob, rape, and murder and then turn around and make a buck off of it.
Andy Kahn's a crime victim advocate based in Houston. He's on a mission to dismantle what he's labeled the murderabilia industry.
There is absolutely nothing more nauseating and disgusting when you find out the person who murdered one of your loved ones now has items being hawked by third parties for pure profit.
Kahn says oftentimes these inmates have no idea their belongings are up for sale on third-party sites. And in some cases, Khan thinks convicted killers are profiting.
How does this get out of the prison?
U.S. mail. I'm fairly confident that Colorado prison officials have no idea that this stuff is going on.
This is America. And, there's an old saying, don't like it, don't buy it.
He says, and look at his room. Look at his room. He says, this is America. And if you don't like it, don't buy it. Where do we cross the line of being immoral, completely insensitive? Do you agree with this? I'm curious. Would you buy Murderabilia? Vote in the poll.
William Harder makes his living selling items from high-profile killers. Page after page, cashing in on crime. He runs murderauction.com.
The public interest is created by the media and the news. And then I capitalize on that by people wanting to go a step further.
Harder considers himself both an entrepreneur and a collector.
I don't feel I have any need to apologize. Apologize for what?
All right. How do you feel about that? I don't feel any need to apologize. Apologize for what? Do you think that this guy has anything to apologize for? Put a 1 in chat if you think he's got some splaining to do. And put a 2 in chat if you think it's just fine and dandy. Let him do what he wants to do. It's a free country. Allegedly. We still are.
For collecting items that I want to have.
What do you say to victims who don't agree with what you're doing?
I would tell them not to come to my website. And when we start banning things, that's not the way to go. Where do we draw the line?
Here's a picture of Alex and his sister Megan.
These are the memories Tom Sullivan wants to remember.
My wife Terry really likes, that picture.
His son Alex died celebrating his 27th birthday.
And this was after Alex was murdered.
He was one of the 12 victims of the Aurora Theater shooting.
I got people running out of the theater. They're shot. We need rescue inside the auditorium. Multiple victims.
This is a letter from James Holmes.
Oh, jeez.
We showed Sullivan how people are making money off his son's murder.
Wow.
James Holmes. He shot up the Batman theater, the Batman movie in Aurora, Colorado. And how would you feel if your loved one was in one of these mass killings and people were idolizing this guy by selling his letters? Look at Olive. Olive says, let him do what he wants. Most of you say no, but Olive says, let him do what he wants. It's his conscience. Let them do what they want.
I'm kind of mystified.
Handwritten letters from the theater shooter are also among the items up for sale, described as quite rare and highly sought after. One site says it sold a letter for $650.
It's like, really? Okay, so
$650
who's making the money and where's it going, and is there a way to stop this?
And the items connected to cold-blooded killers go beyond prison letters.
Prison IDs are rare.
Prison IDs. Someone is getting that stuff out of... Someone's getting that out of the prison.
You don't normally find prison IDs being sold.
But our reporting discovered this Colorado prison ID selling for $350 and an autographed prison t-shirt from the same killer.
Another
autographed. And that's the thing, too, I saw about Gacy. His autograph on everything like he's a celeb. I mean, we are all fired up about Gypsy Rose. But look at these people. Horrible, bad piece of energy. Good afternoon, Shell. Hope you got your walkway all shoveled. Are you still snowed in?
Usual item are his handprints. Lead me to the inclination that he is acutely aware that his stuff is being sold.
That is sick.
And perhaps he is receiving some of the proceeds.
So as you can see there, James Holmes actually sent off his handprints with paint. So he knows that these are being sold. And I don't like that. I don't like that he's getting this kind of notoriety from behind bars. He should be forgotten about it. He should be forgotten about. he should be not receiving any kind of fame, in my opinion.
Is acutely aware that his stuff is being sold, and perhaps he is receiving some of the proceeds.
This Colorado murderer is Christian Guzlow.
Now, why would you want anything from this sick? This is sick.
While you might not remember his name, you may remember his crime.
A man was murdered overnight here in Denver, and the details are truly disturbing.
Guzlow slashed a homeless man to death with Freddy Krueger gloves.
With Freddy Krueger gloves. He slashed a man. I'm not laughing, but what? I do not remember this story.
A Torchy's parking lot. It happened in 2017 in downtown Denver. The killer wore a demonic clown costume and was a death metal singer.
He was well known around downtown Denver on his scooter wearing demon, vampire, and ghoul playing.
His notoriety now fueling a demand for contraband from Colorado's own state prison.
You had to get that out from point A to point B.
Exactly.
How did that happen?
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. These prisoners or these correction officers are obviously selling the stuff. And this Rex Heuermann thing is, I mean, God, imagine the shit from his house. Imagine the stuff from his house. All right, now we're going to take a look at some of these actual Murderabilia websites. All right. So now that we've heard about some of this sick stuff, I want to show you really quick the site I found on John Wayne Gacy. Oh my God. All right. So let's scroll through these first. This is Gacy and his wife. But here's the handcuffs. And then here's some of the crime scene photos. Hold on. This is what people are wanting to bid on. It's so nasty. Wait till you see this one guy's face. He's down in this crawl space trying to get evidence and get these bodies out. This is so nasty. But this is actual photos. Right? 30 young men. There they are in Gacy's kitchen here. And then we go down. Is that Michael Baden? Is that Michael Baden, the coroner guy? I think he's holding a skull or something. It's so nasty. Here's another picture. Why the fuck would you want? I mean, this is just absolutely disgusting. There's more. See the skull down in there? And look at these guys have no masks on either. They have no masks. They're breathing in whatever they can smell in there. It's so nasty. There's another one. Look at this guy's face. Says it all. His face says it all. And look at, he's not even wearing a mask. You got O.J. Simpson's autograph after the murders. It kind of counts. It kind of counts for sure. Here's another dig. Oh, it's absolutely just sick. No gloves. Blit. What a freaking disaster mess. Imagine what these guys went through. And you got DA Rourke sitting there. You know, and that's the one thing that pisses me off too. Let's talk a little bit about him for a second. He talks about in that podcast how he couldn't go out and see the girls, the girls get taken from the oil tanks because he couldn't handle it. Look at what these guys went through. And Rourke going to be striking people for talking about the Chris Watts case. Grow a set, Rourke. God almighty, look at this is all the locations of all the bodies underneath the house. Scott Skulls? What? Evil CJ? What? We got two people in here that I haven't seen in a long time. What's up, guys? What's up, guys? How are you? Scott Skulls, where have you been, dude? Blast from the past. People used to write checks to these monsters to get their signature when the check came back. That's sick. And then here is Gacy being... Oh, wait, let me make this wider. Here's Gacy being taken away. Looking all mad. Disgusting pig he is. Disgusting. He makes me so sick. Now here they are, right? Bringing bodies out and shit. Look at these guys. No gloves, man. These guys were warriors. Warriors. CJ, I saw you played that video the other day. I loved it. I was like, yes, he was right behind the house. When you were saying that, I was like, yes, yes, you're right on the money.
So is that a joint?
I can't even imagine what it was like being Gacy's neighbor. Thank you for being a member for a month, Dre. And here are the victims. These are some of the victims here. There's Gacy dressed up as a clown at some party. All right, so that's the end of that one. Now that was John Wayne Gacy. So let's take a look at what is at the Alcatraz Museum. I always wanted to go to the Alcatraz Museum. I always thought, oh, it would be so freaky. Oh my gosh. Dre Lee. Thank you so much. Coming in hot with $50 super chat. Thank you so much, honey. So generous. Happy New Year. Thank you. I've always wanted to go to this museum in Tennessee. So here we have John Wayne Gacy's clown outfits. Okay. Here's the Alcatraz East Crime Museum. This is in Pigeon Forge, Tennessee. This is a family-friendly museum. Family-friendly. Notice they have cute little handcuffs for the lines, you know. Let's take a look at these pictures. Hold on. Let's resize this. That's what he said. Okay. We have some sort of dungeon here. I always wanted to see Ted Bundy's car. That's why I wanted to go here. But here we have like old artifacts from like when they would like cut people's heads off and stuff. Off with their heads. Like that's kind of historical in a way. I think the more modern day ones are more creepy for us. So this is Butch Cassidy, Sundance Kid. the Dalton gang and Pat Garrett and the kid. This is old Western stuff. And this is when they would slice their head right off. Not quite sure what this is supposed to be, but see the guy up there? All right, let's move on. Here we have the Jesse James blood-stained floorboards. It says these floorboards were taken from the house of Jesse James, or were taken from the house of George Height in Logan County, Kentucky. Height was the uncle of Jesse and Frank James, and his sons often ran with the James gang. The Height home was used as a hideout, and after being shot, Jesse nearly bled to death in an upstairs bedroom, causing these stains. Scott Skull says his melon is going to be worth a fortune. Then we have Frank James walnut walking stick. So that's all Billy the Kid. This down here is, they got Pretty Boy Floyd, John Dillinger's death mask. There's an Uzi used by Al Pacino in Scarface, and a revolver used by James Caan in The Godfather. Not a big deal. No big deal here. But when it gets to the true crime, it gets dark. So we have here Jeffrey Dahmer's handcuffs that he was actually taken off to prison in. They were worn by Jeffrey Dahmer. Gross. That would make me not want to touch them. This is Ed Gein's tooth. Ed Gein's tooth. Gross. Charles Manson. This baseball is signed by Charles Manson and serial killer Juan Corona. They were both incarcerated at Corcoran State Prison in California. Sporting goods are not allowed, so this item was smuggled in and out of the facility. The note and photograph are also signed by Manson. I just feel like the crimes that happened back in the Old West is more like history for us, right? I still don't know the whole story of the Old West, so I feel like that's historical. Just like, I don't know, I mean, how do you feel about President Lincoln's chair sitting in Michigan at the Greenfield, whatever it's called, Greenfield Museum in Dearborn? You can, I remember going to that. You know what? Now I had a flashback of what originally got me into true crime. I remember the very first assassination that I heard of, hi CEO, was Lincoln when I was a little kid. And I was fascinated by it. And then I went with my Girl Scout troop to Greenfield Village. And I saw Lincoln's red velvet chair with blood stains on it. And I remember looking at that chair and thinking, wow, that's President Lincoln's blood. And I remember being intrigued by that. So here is Jeffrey Dahmer, or John Wayne Gacy's clown outfits again. And his painting supply, his art kits. Now, here's an interesting one. This is John Wayne Gacy's wallet. And he's got a Playboy Club executive key in there. He has Dominic's Food Stores. He's got a Millionaires Club, Radio Shack, Hertz credit card, and his driver's license right there. He was 5'9". He was only 5'9" and 200 pounds. Why do I feel like he weighed more than that, even though he was short? Crazy. And then this, I guess, is Gacy's jacket and some other stuff. There's his wallet. I would have no interest. I mean, it's interesting to look at stuff like this. This is an actual rifle that was used by Charles Whitman, the gunman who killed 17 people from the University of Texas Tower in 1966. It says here the rifle itself was startling enough to see, but on the back of the stock was a small piece of paper with handwritten numbers, settings for the rifle's scope. Another chill. So they still have the little note on there for the scope. Mark Klein. As long as I wasn't in Alcatraz. Here's a Bernie Madoff Louisville Slugger. Dear Andy, happy birthday, love. Bernie Madoff's surviving son, Andrew, has not spoken to his father since the day of Madoff's confession in 2008. This letter was sent by Madoff from prison in North Carolina. And then we have Old Smoky. This is the electric chair from Tennessee's state prison that took the lives of 125 inmates. There is also a purse and a sweatshirt worn by a victim of the Aurora movie theater shooting, and a Winnie the Pooh backpack belonging to Casey Anthony's daughter, Kayleee. What? 125 inmates died in this thing. That is so creepy. But then we have a sweatshirt and a purse from a victim in the Aurora shooting with the Batman logo behind it. Mark Klein says I'm 5'9". Don't judge. I'm not judging, Mark Klein. But who gave them the backpack with items? Who gave them that? Like, how did they get little Kayleee Anthony's backpack? Why? Why would they need... Who gave that to them? Now we get to the vehicles. I think 5'10". But I don't think John Wayne Gacy was 5'9" and 200 pounds. There's no way Gacy weighed 200 pounds. I just don't know who would have that. And if that was my granddaughter, I'd be like, no. This thing's coming out of your damn museum now. If a case is solved and evidence not claimed, it goes to auction. No way. They would have to destroy evidence. Like Casey would have had her backpack, or the family. I mean, all that little girl's shit, unless. Now, this could have happened. What if Casey left her little backpack somewhere and someone random had it? But they have A.L. Collings Bronco. OJ's Bronco. This is actually what's his name? A.I. Cowling. Anyways, this OJ's Bronco, where police found bloodstains, has since been destroyed. But A.I.'s Bronco is the one that carried OJ across the freeways of L.A. So did you guys know that it wasn't actually OJ's Bronco. These are the bullet-riddled cars used in the scene of Bonnie and Clyde. This is from a movie. But I guess this is Ted Bundy's actual Volkswagen Beetle with the seat removed in the front. And that's that. So if we go to Google, buy Murderabilia, which is what I did. We have, and had I known that Terry Nichols' letters would be worth a couple $100, I wish I had saved those. I wrote to him a couple times back in the early 2000s, and they're selling for $225 a piece. So we got Terry Nichols. We've got Jeff Dahmer's will going for $13,000. His last will and testament for $13,000. Jeffrey Dahmer's will he had made in prison. Please note, this is Lionel's personal copy. It is a photocopy without original signatures on the second page. $13,000. Jeffrey Dahmer graduation photo, childhood artwork of Dahmer. Oh, that's pretty interesting. Reminds me of Ethan Crumbly a little bit with the bird. Didn't he put birds in jars and shit, Jeffrey Dahmer? I don't know. Maybe can we read the will? Let me see. I don't know if I can read it. Yes. Okay. I gotta lean in. Here's the first page that I can see. The last will and testament of Jeffrey L. Dahmer. I thank the Lord Jesus Christ for saving me, not according to my works, but according to his own purpose and grace. I am not ashamed of the gospel of Christ, for by receiving Jesus Christ as Lord and Savior, I am promised forgiveness of sins and eternal life with him in heaven. I agree with the Apostle Paul when he records in 2 Timothy 1:12 that I know whom I have believed and am persuaded that he is able to keep that which I have committed unto him against that day. I hope that all who read or hear this, my last will and testament, also will receive Jesus Christ as Lord and Savior. I, Jeffrey Dahmer, being of sound mind and body, do hereby request that the following procedures be executed at the event of my death. In the event of serious injury or illness, I do not want life support systems used. In the event of my death, I do not want an autopsy performed. Having now disposed of my material goods, which are only temporary, I wish to remind all who read or hear this, my last will and testament, that the only way to spiritual goods and treasure in heaven, which will last for eternity, is through accepting Jesus Christ as Lord and Savior, and by asking him to forgive your sins and to save you, as recorded in Acts 4:12. Oh yeah, Jeffrey Dahmer type. A Jeffrey Dahmer type. I forgot about that soundbite. No, I can't find it on here. We've got Gypsy Rose talking about Jeffrey Dahmer. I haven't used my sound bites in forever, it feels like, and I can't find any of them. Anyways, it'll pop up somehow.
Not right now, man.
Not right now, ma'am. Oh, here it is. Oh, it didn't work. Damn it. Hold up. I don't know if she was trying to play dumb or what. She's like, Dahmer.
We're all gonna have so much fucking fun. We'll need plastic surgery to remove our goddamn smiles.
All right. Let's see what else we've got here. We've got Terry Nichols greeting cards. We've got Sam Little, Gary Ridgway, Herbert Mullen prison used pencil crayon, $20. Stencils. $50. The Bundy autopsy reports. Toe tag vintage t-shirt. Wayne Williams Psycho Killers comic. Prison. You can get a used Nintendo 64 from a prison. Madden that they played in prison. Knockout Kings 2000. Bunch of books. Susan Atkins prison bead artwork, $800. Because that's not creepy. Portrait on leather, handmade by Manson family member Susan Atkins. It's disgusting. Look at all the... Who's this guy? Isia Sagawa. He looks like the guy that was Shannon Gilbert's driver. Who the hell is this guy? He was known as Pang or the Kobe Cannibal. He's a Japanese murderer, cannibal, and necrophile known for the killing of Renee Hartefelt in Paris in 1981. He mutilated, cannibalized, and performed necrophilia on her corpse over several days. And they're selling this. Mm-hmm. Lyle Menendez letter, $500. Jeffrey Dahmer, unseen letter, $1,000. See what it says. This is to a judge regarding trying to get out of prison early. What? Dear Judge Gardner, this is 12/10/89. My name is Jeffrey Dahmer. On September 1985, I was arrested in Milwaukee, Wisconsin for taking pictures of a 13-year-old minor. On September 27, 1988, I was released on bail from the something county jail. On May 24, 1989, after having entered a plea of guilty in your court, I received my sentence. It was as follows: 1 year on work release at CCC and 5 years probation. I have, as of this date, served 6 months and a few days of my sentence. Sir, I have always believed that a man should be willing to assume responsibility for the mistakes that he makes in life. That is why I entered a plea of guilty to the crime of which I was charged. During my stay at CCC, I have had a chance to look at my life from an angle that was never presented to me before. Sounds familiar. No, I said Nintendo. During my stay at CCC, I've had a chance to look at my life from an angle that was never presented to me before. What I did was deplorable. The world has enough misery in it without my adding to it. Sir, I can assure you that it will never happen again. And that's where it ends. So, yeah, he really changed his ways and saw the light. Jeffrey Dahmer's grandmother's house listing. $250. Real estate listing for Jeff Dahmer's grandma. I mean, they have anything and everything you can imagine. Look at this little Dahmer related audio recording microcassette, $5,000. Jeffrey Dahmer childhood audio recordings, $7,500. Funeral service pamphlet, $2,500. Jeffrey Dahmer's termination letter from Ambrosia Chocolate, $10,000. Let's see what else. Richard Speck, original Department of Corrections document. Now, while this is all very interesting, I just can't believe it's up for sale. Richard Speck was a mass murderer who killed 8 nurses in their residence, stabbing, strangling, and slashing their throats. And it was the night of July 13th, 1966. One victim was also raped prior to her murder. A ninth potential victim, student nurse Corazon Amuro, survived by hiding underneath a bed. But no one made videos and called her the killer back then. Assholes just do that now to surviving people. Jeffrey Dahmer interview request from the Detroit News. Jeffrey Dahmer prison newsletter. Bunch of DVDs and stuff. Heaven's Gate t-shirt sold out. Yikes. Richard Speck press photo, $150. Paul Bernardo trial court pass, $250. Pogo the Clown sticker. That's it from that website. But I mean, as you can see, there are several that are selling. A lot of it is artwork. I haven't really found anything with blood on it or anything like that. I don't know where you'd find that stuff. But like a Dennis Rader signed photo. It says, me and defense, Sarah McKinnon or whatever. And then he signed it. Dennis Lynn Rader with the date. It's just gross. Like, F you, Dennis Rader. There's all kinds of letters and Tex Watson from the Manson case. People I've never even heard of, you know? You like the Heaven's Gate shirt? Yeah, it is pretty cool. Oh my gosh, Mark Klein, that sounds so chilly. He said it's minus 24 up there. Ugh. I hope you guys all keep your heat, though, because that is miserable. I remember being up north and we lost power and it was so cold out. And I remember my daughter and I like put our coats on and everything. And we literally bundled up and got under her blankets. And I'm like, let's use our body heat to stay warm. It was so cold. It got down to like 50 in my house. And that was, I mean, it was cold. Well, lower than 50 probably. But look at, this is a painting from John Wayne Gacy. Almost $20,000. 20 grand. I love t-shirts. I love weird t-shirts. I love unique t-shirts. I love old t-shirts. Love, love, love t-shirts. John Wayne Gacy, 7 Friends painting. Signed twice. Darlie Rudier, card, letter, and envelope all signed. She's only going for $60. John Wayne Gacy check, $600. Ted Kaczynski letter. Danny DiCarlo signed Social Security card, $12,000. Did he write children's books? What's up, Steph? Dennis Rader, happy birthday card. I mean, come on. So there's a museum too. And I think it's in Vegas. And they have Elaine Warnis's undies. Elaine Warnis's undies. Yeah, come on down, Mark Klein. It's too damn cold up there. That's ridiculous. Let's see what they have of her here. So they have photos, fan mail, greeting cards, autograph magazine, her fucking shoes from death row. So how did they get her shoes from death row? $8,500. The eve of execution photo. Aileen Warnes with childhood friend. Her Smithsonian membership card. Why would Aileen Warnos have a Smithsonian membership card? No, Mark Klein. Mm-mm. Aileen Warnos Psycho Killer comic book. My son does, though, Mark. How can they prove this stuff is legit? I don't know. It says here, okay, so like this. Aileen Warnes, October 2002, her last copy of National Geographic. It says personally owned, and her last copy of National Geographic magazine. Includes the original brown shipping sleeve. See, that has a name on it. See? It says Aileen Warnos, Fort Lauderdale, Broward Correctional. So that we know is hers. But all the other stuff, I'm not sure how they prove it. But yeah, there's a lot of things out here. Ed Gein, I mean, his tooth and that, ugh. And Ed Gein is one of the most, like, fascinating serial killers. But we've got his fingerprint chart. It's a replica. Edward Gein letter signed with envelope. $14,000. Mark, you're too busy solving crimes. Dear Jeffrey, I was given notice by staff that the most recent letter of yours contained material that is considered contraband. I am also fresh out of writing paper. Your friend, Edward Gein. Weird. Here's Otis Toole. Henry Lee Lucas and Otis Toole. Otis Toole's signature, $225. Why? Because he said that he unalived Adam Walsh? I mean, how gross. Henry Lee Lucas, woman with dog, $1,800. Otis Toole, $350 of a cross-eyed Jesus. The fuck? Here's another one. Otis Toole, $420. That's his handwriting. Look how neat he wrote. Yeah, I don't understand how they know it's her undies. Maybe they had her girlfriend do the sniff test. Oh my God, I can't believe I just said that. I think now it is time to wrap up Monday Live. I think that's a wrap. I think that is a wrap. But y'all are crazy. I know, your own personal cross-eyed Jesus. Yeah, the teeth. I agree, Cheryl. I agree. So I think it's safe to say we have pretty normal people here that are not collecting murderabilia. Right? Where'd our chat box go? Cross-eyed Jesus Christ, that's blasphemy. Yeah, he's probably freaking, not a God-fearing man. Global says, I think we need to keep going. Y'all are too much. Too much. But I'm not going to disappoint. I believe I have a pretty good going out for us today. Let me see. I've been really busy, guys. I'm a little all over the place, but we're going to be doing an update on the Idaho 4. We're going to be doing tomorrow morning. We have an update with Rex Hewerman. Rex Hewerman, look at, I got a calendar. You guys are never going to miss a fucking thing with me anymore. Look, I'm organized. So today in Discord, we are going to vote on our Saturday movie. Every Saturday at 7 p.m. we are watching a movie in Discord. So I'm going to have a poll today in Discord. You guys get to vote on what we're going to watch this Saturday. But tomorrow is a busy day. We have Tracy Ferreter. She's in court at 8:30 in the morning. And then we also are going to be having a press conference on Rex Hewerman. I believe he is fixing to get charged with his 4th murder. And then we also have some craziness with Boone. I don't know exactly what's going on with her. I think she has a stay. But then we also have Vallow. Lori Vallow is in court Thursday. And there's some Richard Allen action on Thursday as well. So Wednesday is probably when we'll be doing our Idaho 4 review and talking about what Chris M was talking about with the PCA. That's not really a PCA. It's an actual exhibit. So that is what we have up. And then next Tuesday already, guys, next Tuesday is Jennifer Crumbly trial in Michigan. It starts next Tuesday already. Tell me that isn't nuts. All right, so I've got it going out for you. This is to bounce on my Michigan.
And South Pole.
It's very...
On my Michigan bandwagon here. You know, I love my Michiganders. I'm from Michigan. And Detroiters just have this, you know, we just love Detroit and we love Michigan, and it's just how we are. So this is actually quite interesting. So explorers are using Ford trucks on a mission to the North Pole and the South Pole. Have you heard about this? Check this out.
They're a group of researchers using a unique winter expedition trucks from Ford on a mission to the North.
I don't know what the
and
mission
South
is.
Pole.
I'd like to know.
Very interesting. And just to see these, I love the pictures just from the North Pole that you have within these, in the story about these trucks.
Yeah, and we're talking about Ford trucks because we're keeping it with the Lions theme.
Absolutely.
Here, the Ford family. But yes, this is a very great mission that these people are on. And it's a team of explorers, and they made sure to stop here in Detroit to make a stop at the Ford World Headquarters in Dearborn, because that's where the trucks are made. And I got a chance to check out the vehicles in Corktown in front of Michigan Central Station. Take a look.
Yes, it's so cold in the
These vehicles are all part of an expedition coined the Transglobal Car Expedition.
Never been done before, on wheels, all the way around the world through both geographic poles.
Andrew Comrie Picard is one of the 15 members from all over the world taking this fleet of trucks up to the North Pole and then down to the South Pole.
Now, if you think your last road trip was a long one, imagine this. These vehicles took off from New York City last week. They're going to complete their trip in May of 2025. Yes, that's a 17-month journey.
Their first stop had to be Detroit, the home of Ford Motor Company, who made all of these vehicles.
It's one of the reasons we use the Ford vehicles for this expedition is because of the light weight of the bodies combined with the sort of robustness of the drivetrain.
Each vehicle is built to handle the different types of terrain.
So basically, what we're trying to do is that we want to drive on a road, and then when we drive on the snow, depending on how soft the snow is, we want to deflate the tires.
Okay.
And we deflate it down to 2 psi.
The trip has been in the planning process for the last 5 years, preparing for everything, even the amount of gas to bring along.
What about filling up on gas?
So this car has 150 gallons in the back here.
The team also had to place other vehicles from their fleet that can float for when the team reaches water.
Then when we get to the tip of the world, in the high Arctic, we have amphibious vehicles that are already stationed up there that we took up last year. They're able to float, and that's necessary because part of the north is open water, and increasingly with climate change, it is open water.
So what's it all for? Well, besides doing something that's never been done before, it's science-based, conducting experiments and collecting data for things like ice thickness in areas where ice is melting from global warming.
But also to triangulate the data from the satellites to make sure that they're true, and they're often not. It's very, very difficult to get information on the thickness of ice in the north.
Well, were those shots of the North Pole or Metro Detroit?
Hard to tell today.
Yeah, look pretty similar. But this trip really is remarkable. These people, they're leaving their families for that amount of time.
That is crazy. Have you guys ever heard of this? Floating cars? Where are they getting this stuff from? Pretty amazing. Pretty amazing. Go Detroit. Go Ford. And let's run our credits. Thank you for joining me, you guys, today. We're going to have a busy week ahead of us. I hope you're subscribed and you've clicked that notification bell to receive all notifications this week and next week and for the rest of your life. And I will see you guys tomorrow when we do some Rex Heuermann and some Tracy Farrader. So thank you guys for your support. And let's roll our credits. Stay safe. Don't get abducted. I'll see you tomorrow.
Where do you think you're going? Nobody's leaving. Nobody's walking out on this fun, old-fashioned family Christmas. No, no, we're all in this together.
Be sure to check out my other videos and playlists for more true crime content. And if that's not enough, you can join our Patreon. Don't have a tinfoil hat? It's okay. We'll make you one. It's that easy. See you guys in the next video.
See you later. Bye.
I don't give a damn. I don't really care about you and your problems. I don't give a damn. You talk way too much. I have heard enough about you and your problems. I don't give a damn.
Psychopathy.
I don't give a damn.
Hi, Jennifer.
You wanna be with me. You wanna feel something real, but I'm feeling differently. You're making plans to get to France, but don't wanna face the fact that I ain't got time for that.
Hi, Jennifer.